This episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Hello there, and welcome to the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III, and I am your host, Jesse Oakley III. And the purpose of the Sunday Morning Chat Series is where yours truly get to interview a plethora of positive people that are making big differences in the communities, whether they're speakers, writers, singers, entertainers, athletes, you name it, you'll hear from them first right here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. And today we have ourselves a wonderful episode. And for all the people out there, many of you know that I belong to a wonderful organization called Toastmasters International. And Toastmasters International is so fantastic. If it wasn't so fantastic, I would not be there for 23 years. And I had a chance to go to different places, meet some amazing people, and actually marry my wife through Toastmasters. So if you're able to actually look at Toastmasters, it is a wonderful investment. And right here, right now, I have with me a newly minted distinguished Toastmaster and talk about his journey and his start and the beginning and everything else. So please let me welcome none other than distinguished Toastmaster Philip Wilkerson. Hey, Philip, how's it going? Can you hear me? Hey, I can't hear you. Let's try this again. Hello, Philip. How's it going?
It's going well, it's still funny hearing the word DTM. And I joke, I have it on my LinkedIn. I don't think many people know what it even means, but I felt so much pride that I put it in my name, people have on LinkedIn, all their little degrees behind them, like master's of education. I put DTM. I might take it down, but it's so interesting to hear, distinguished Toastmaster Phil. I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool.
Hey, congratulations on getting that Distinguished Toastmaster Award. Now, for those people out there that don't know what Distinguished Toastmaster is, that means that each individual Toastmaster gets to the top of an educational session, and that is the Distinguished Toastmaster. And I remember getting my Distinguished Toastmaster back in 2007 when I finished up my second year as area governor. Back then they were called area governors, now they're area directors. And I could tell you, the same feeling that Phil has gotten, I've gotten the same feeling too. And it's just truly amazing to actually have such an amazing accomplishment. And speaking of distinguished Toastmasters or Toastmasters International in general, what is your definition of Toastmasters?
I mean, for what it is a service organization meant to encourage people to be more confident public speakers, but also concurrently in that journey to be better public speakers, to be better leaders. And so the skills overlap. I think some people go at it with this wanting to be a better public speaker, and then by happenstance, they get pulled into leadership roles. I think that usually what happens most times. Most people come to it with the public speaking and top of the mind, but then they start taking on roles in meetings and taking roles in the club. And before you know it, these leadership skills that center around communication start to permeate in other places of your life. So just nutshell, public speaking group with great opportunities for professional growth and leadership growth, for sure.
All right. Up next, the question I have for you is, we already saw your accomplishment in becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. Now, we went to the results of being a DTM. Let's go right to the beginning. How did you get your start within Toastmasters?
I love it. So it was funny. It was always something I wanted to do, but life be lifing. And so I remember when I used to work I work at George Mason now, but when I worked at this other institution, George Washington University, right. I remember one meeting right before I got on the metro, go home. I just walked. It was in our building, and they just had a Toastmasters meeting, and I went and I participated. And I did a table topic. Now that I know what that was, I don't know what it was back now. And that was it. And I was like, wow, that was awesome. But then when I looked up Toastmasters meetings, it was always during the work day, and I just could not commit, and years went by, like lots of years. I think it was like 2014 or so when I did that random Toastmasters meeting.
Yep.
And then all the way in 2019, George Mason, where I work now, they had a group that was during your lunch break. And I was like, there's no excuse. I've always wanted to become a better public speaker. I always wanted to join Toastmasters, but I looked up all the meetings there at afternoon. My wife was like, I told you earlier, my wife don't play. I got 2 kids. But I was like, there's no excuse right now. And then additionally, right before in May of that year, 2019, I tried out for TEDx and I didn't get it. And so that was like it, like I was confident, but I was like, I guess I got to practice. I had to become a more rehearsed and prepared public speaker. So I went to my first meeting, July 2019, and the rest was history. I was one of those people that like automatically signed up to do a table talk my first meeting. I think the very next meeting I did my icebreaker. I was like all in because I had this like North Star of if I'm a better public speaker, I can do the TEDx. And I always wanted to do it. I was always excited about it. I was the one that was the confident speaker, but I wanted to become a more polished speaker. I used to rush. I used to talk real fast. I used to be all over the place. And so Toastmasters just helped me hone in, like be quiet or pause better. But it wasn't a matter of confidence. I asked my mom and my friends. I used to get in trouble for talking too much. So it wasn't like I was scared to talk. I talk in class. I talk all the time. That wasn't my thing. But that was my origin story. It was more so just someone told me, you want to become a better public speaker, you got to get reps in. You just got to do it over and over and over again. And I thought there was no better place than Toastmasters because you were committed to regularly practicing public speaking, in a system, in a structured environment, which I needed for sure.
And it reminds me of the fact that there's a quote that's given to all fellow Toastmasters from the second good-looking bald-headed man in Las Vegas Toastmasters community, Darren LaCroix. And he mentions stage time, stage time, stage time. Never turned down opportunity for stage time. And it sounds like with your journey, you took on the stage time to advantage and you listened to Darren LaCroix's word by heart.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it really boils down to this really simple formula. The thoughts we have about ourselves become actions. Those actions that we do over and over and over again become behaviors. Those behaviors that we become over and over again become habits, and those habits become our being. So if I say I want to be a confident public speaker, then I need to do the behaviors of a public speaker over and over again. And then it just becomes like who I am. Like I remember one time recently, I was about to get nervous to do a little speech in front of the president of Mason. And my wife looked over to me and was like, why are you nervous, Mr. Toastmaster? Like, that's your being now. You're the one that could talk in front of everybody. And so I realized that, like, if you just keep on putting yourself out there, yes, it's still hard. Yes, you still get butterflies in your stomach and all that. But you do become this aura of, like, I'm ready to talk. They'll start, people ask me to start doing prayers. I'm like, oh, I got to talk on the cuff to do a prayer. Like, oh, Mr. Wilkerson, Mr. Toastmaster. And so I just tell anyone, it's like exposure therapy. If there's something that you are afraid of, which is true, it is hard and there is anxiety. Just keep on pushing yourself to do it over and over and over again. It's, it's always going to be nervous, but then you're like, I've been here. This situation is not unfamiliar to me. I can do this. I can do this behavior because I've done it before over and over again.
All right. Next question I have for you is that when it comes from the beginning to where we are right now, we have our challenges within our journey within Toastmasters or anything that's relevant to Toastmasters. Now, we also were able to overcome certain challenges. Now, when it comes to your journey in this organization, what were some of the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
I mean, I got a couple, but I think there's a few that really stand out. One, all right, without being said, it was COVID, right? I started this journey in 2019, was so gung-ho about in-person and being a public speaker in person and practicing in front of an audience that, I wanted to be more confident in front of people in person, and then having to pivot to COVID and really still have that commitment to being a better public speaker, but in a modality that, wasn't really what I really wanted. I wanted to be better in front of people because it's different, right? To talk on a Zoom meeting in front of 100 people is easier than talking in front of a live audience of hundreds of people. So that was one obstacle where I'm like, I still got to commit to this. I still got to practice. I guess I still got to simulate as close as I can. Maybe I stand up or, try to simulate being in person to get that same feeling in my stomach of nervousness. And that's one. And then the other one was just staying committed. Like it wasn't, I don't think at first I even wanted a DTM, be honest with you. I just wanted to be a public speaker. And then, I get the bug in my ear. Oh, you already served as a role. You did a role. Keep on doing it. Oh, would you ever want to be an area director? I was like, I never done nothing like that before, And so like, I wrote an article. It was just as hard as getting a real degree. Like I call it my education in Toastmasters. I got my master's in counseling, which is a structured program with, writing papers and stuff. Yeah. And now I'm getting my PhD. And I'm not going to say, water it down and say like, it's the same as a PhD, but it is as disciplined and as time consuming as a full educational experience, and it does take a certain amount of, motivation and organization. I had like a spreadsheet when I need to do my speeches. Yeah. I had to make sure I did all these things. One of the hardest things is trying to coach or mentor another club. It's not just you wake up and you can get this credential from this, distinguished Toastmaster. So I would say that too is keeping that motivation. Like from when I really said I can do this, I really feel like I can get a DTM. It took me about 4 years. Like when I got the bug that, that's something I want to do. And then I had to like organize myself and get these roles and do that. So I would say that's a challenge because you have to stay motivated. And that's, 4 years, you lose a lot of juice. And, you kind of like, why would I do this? But for me, I was like, I started something. I like to finish. I wanted to get it. So I think those were two main challenges during my Toastmaster journey is motivation and then also just navigating COVID.
And I tell you, each of us have our own logs we need to add to the fire in order to keep the fire burning. And what you just showed is a challenge is no matter what happens, no matter what situation that you're thrown at, keep the wood throwing in the fire, keep the fire going. And I tell you what, I admire the fire you kept going throughout the challenges that you had to go through, especially with COVID that has happened, joining in 2019. And then looks like that COVID hits. You no matter what type of challenges you face, you kept the fire burning. And that fire burning led to the end result that's right there. And it's also going to keep the journey going, especially if one keeps the fire burning. And I really love the fact that you kept the fire going.
I mean, I'll give credit to like one, it's not, it's not me, it's we. I've had a lot of mentors along the way, a lot of people that encourage me. I mean, like I said, I told you earlier, I didn't even have the bug in my ear until someone said, hey, Phil, I think you can get the DTM. I said, for real? So I had like mentors that pushed me, area directors that say, hey, I think you could be the next, no, actually, Rick Taylor. Rick was a district director or about to be district director. And he visited our club and he said, can I talk to you for a minute and, send me a text? I think you should be an area director. So I didn't even knew this. Like there was a lot of people pulling me up and I was like, okay. Regina Wilkerson was the one that was like, your first role, you should be a VP of PR. And so it was all these people pulling me along the way. I think that's what really kept me motivated to actually get the DTM too. Like I started having people in my club as mentors, like Heather Akinavich. She got it ahead of me, Arupa. These are people at George Mason Toastmasters. And they were like, you can do it too. This is how you do it. And so I really don't think I did it. I mean, I know I didn't do it by myself. And so it was really good. And I think that I could really give a lot of credit to my club mates that just created a positive experience in my club that made me want to keep on going through this and really finish it,
Fantastic. That is truly fantastic. It's not a me, it's more we. And that is a true example of having we culture in order to achieve success. In the words of Michael Jackson, you were not alone.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
definitely, you're not alone in the journey. Now we talked about the challenges, and you talked about one of your best moments be achieving the Distinguished Toastmaster Award. What were some of the other best moments that you experienced when you joined this organization?
It's funny. I actually did a TEDx in April, and I felt prepared, and I felt like, wow, like, this is really what I joined Toastmasters for. And it felt I still was nervous, but I did it. Like, I actually accomplished a goal that was the North Star that started my journey into Toastmasters. So that was dope. And then one I think that will always stand out to me is that during this past couple of years, my father-in-law passed away, one that I was very close to. And I loved him very much. And I was able to do a kind of like a eulogy for him at his funeral or his end of life celebration. And I swear, I think I practiced that thing about 6 times in different club meetings. I said, hey, I know, okay, I really want to do this. And I remember actually doing that eulogy in a church, having people cry. And even my dad was like, I didn't know you could talk like that. And my dad's seen me talk since, and he's like, you are really good at public speaking.
Yep.
But it was like, that's what it was really for. It's really for those day-to-day instances where you have to speak in front of people, and you show up and you do right by people. And it was really important for me to do well for my father-in-law. And so I think that's probably one of my all-time, like, most important Toastmasters moments. Wasn't even in Toastmasters. It was just the skills in that setting to honor someone I cared about and actually look prepared and polished. And I know it was impactful. If I would have went up there and fumbled around or not be prepared, I feel like that wouldn't have been as honorable to him. So that's what Toastmasters has really helped me do, for sure.
And I tell you, when it comes to eulogies, I've actually been through the similar thing twice. When my dad passed away in 2010, I had to give the eulogy on behalf of the family, and my mom already knew how well I could speak as a Toastmaster. But there's one sister I had that was unable. She says, I really appreciate your courage. I want to be able to do that, what you just did when it comes to giving eulogy. And that was during my dad's funeral. And when my mom passed away in 2018, I gave a eulogy for my mom at her funeral. And once I gave a eulogy for my mom, another sister came by and said, thank you for giving a eulogy. That was beautiful. And just having to get a chance to do eulogy at both my parents' funeral, that it wasn't easy. It was quite the challenge. And I tell you, Toastmasters come in handy at those different challenging times. So, Phil, I really understand where you're going, especially we're talking about eulogies. Being a person that did eulogy for my mom and my dad's funeral.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I also am a member of a historically Black fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha.
Yep.
And I'm the chaplain. Like, God bless you. And so I've had to go talk in front of churches. I ain't never talked in front of churches before, but that preparation is really, like I said, I really feel that being confident in speaking is a very transformative experience, because once you can do it, you realize how many doors can open and how many just places where people are going to ask you to speak. And when I think about it, it doesn't make you better or more knowledgeable than other people. There's so many people out there in the world that have so much knowledge, but they'll never be heard because they don't know how to convey that in front of people. And so it's just being able to do that and that ability to communicate out loud that just is a very transformative thing. It just makes you more seen. Like, there's definitely smarter people out there in the world than me, brighter, more charismatic, et cetera, funnier, all those things. But ain't nobody going to notice if they've never put themselves out there in public platforms. And so that ability allows you to connect with people.
I agree. And it is mind-blowing that some of the buried treasures that are out there are not found in islands or in pirate ships or any type of map. The buried treasures are in the cemeteries. because there are people out there that are unable to actually show their gifts or what they do have when it's too late. And that's, for me, that's heartbreaking. So when I see someone actually doing it right now, showing their gifts and everything that's there, that makes me smile through my mouth and my heart, because they're able to do this and show what type of treasure they have before it's too late.
Yeah,
And
really deep.
yeah, that's true. Now, let's say that you did a TEDx, you did Distinguished Toastmaster, and there's someone out there to say, hey, Philip, I am inspired by you. You are just too fantastic and amazing, and I want to be in your shoes. If you could give advice to that person who wants to be in your shoes, what advice would you get? What advice would you give that person?
Be more organized than me. I'd say thank you. I don't know, man. I'd say God bless you trying to be in my shoes. I do too much. So one of my things, I think the one thing I've always realized is that people are the best resource in this world. What I mean by that, I can't do anything alone. I have a very organized wife, very loving wife, a wife that was like, you doing all that extra Toastmaster stuff with lots of patience, but seeing it play off. I got 2 wonderful kids. I got great coworkers. I don't know. I just realized that it's really, I would say, if you want to be in my shoes, then you need to be around people that are good people that uplift you. I think one of the best parts about my Toastmaster journey or Alpha or anything is just I'm surrounded by good people, and usually good people elevate good people. The people around me, I joined a very good club. I would tell someone that's very important. Join a club that makes you feel good and pushes you and encourages you to take leadership and talk. Just surround yourself with people that are just positive and uplifting. Don't mean that to be like, let me rephrase, they don't have to be like suck-uppy or brown nose, but like just overall kind, accountable, good-natured people. And you can tell that energy, because it makes a world of difference. I think that makes a world of difference. And I think the other thing too is that I think one of the things you say to be in my shoes, and I'll say I'm happy to coach you, is that I'm in a space now that like I don't have any like real individual goals for Toastmasters anymore.
Right.
And so my real goal is to mentor other people. Like I want to make sure that someone else finishes their pathways or stays on someone else to say, I think you can be a leader of a club next. Like I said, no club leadership roles. I'm taking a year off, no leadership roles, no club roles, nothing. And the only thing I'm doing is like encouraging other people to, I'll do meeting roles but like encourage someone else to be the president and all that and help them. Because I think that's where I'm at right now. And I think that's going to be the part that keeps me engaged and fulfilled in Toastmasters is not necessarily these individualistic goals anymore. It's more so like, did our club do so well? I love that the club success, is our club successful, and more so our individuals, like that person that was deadly scared, that would hype me up more now. If I met someone and they literally was scared to death to make speeches and I helped them finish their first pathway, that would make me light up because I knew I was motivating and help somebody. So that's the phase I'm in. And I think if someone is in my shoes, I would say once you have accomplished things, I think you have a responsibility to pull others up and help others because you didn't get to your success by yourself. So you have a responsibility to help others.
Fantastic. Now, there are people out there that want to be in the journey that you've taken and I've taken, and they want to actually find out more about Toastmasters International. Where could they actually go to find out more about this wonderful organization?
I would say go to Toastmasters.org. And then I think the best thing to do, like after you go there, don't just sit on it. Go to the club locator, type in your zip code, and find a club that best accommodates your lifestyle. Like I said, I made so many excuses until I found one during my lunch break, and there was no excuses after that. Or I would say this too, like let's say you're in a company and you got at least 20 people around you. Start one. Go to the Toastmasters.org and say, hey, I'm trying to get my people around me to do it with me because, a lot of people don't like to do stuff by themselves,
Right.
So it's either one of those, like either find a space or create one. I would say, honestly, it's easier to find one that's already around than create one, but don't wait, because there's definitely pockets in the United States or spaces that could probably use it that are all over the place. But I would say that's the first place. And go to the meeting. You can go to any Toastmasters meetings as much as you want for free. Just join a table topic. You have to pay and be a dude if you want to do the speeches, but you can come check out any of them for free and feel, like I said, feel the vibe, see which one, hits with you. And I would say this too, be very telling. If you go to a Toastmasters meeting, go to the one, remember which ones where people are like, oh, it's nice to meet you. There's been ones where people are so welcoming and stuff. And so I use those context clues,
Yes. It ain't that the truth. It's like trying on a pair of shoes.
Yes.
All right. Now, this portion of the interview is the shout out portion. And it gives you a chance to give a shout out to all the people that helped make this possible. You mentioned people earlier in this interview. Now, when it comes to giving out more shout outs for this journey for you, making this possible, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Well, I'm going to do it again because I ain't trying to get in trouble. So shout out to my wife, Maggie Wilkerson, and my sons, Bennett and Miles. Shout out to everyone that is a member of George Mason Toastmasters and all the officers, Roger, Rupa, Heather, Julia, Rhonda, Ann. Did I say Heather already? Yeah, there's a bunch of people already. I think I missed, but whatever. Shout out to my other club, Alpha Toastmasters 1906. Shout out to all them and the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha. Shout out to District 29 leadership, particularly those that mentored me. I'll give a special shout out to Rick Taylor for really encouraging me. There's a lot of other district leaders in 29 I could shout out, but one specifically is Rick Taylor, who really started me on this journey about district leadership and doing all that stuff. Shout out to all my club mentors, Regina Wilkerson. And then just in general, shout out to all my people at George Mason University, my community around me. It's just a great place to work. I'm really excited. I love going to work every day. And so those are just a few shout outs. Shout out to my parents. Shout out to my family. And that's it. Yeah. I think I already shout out to Alpha. Shout out everybody. Shout out to you too for having me on this. I've been following you. I know you a DMV dude, and you got, someday maybe when I'm out in Vegas again, I'll have to chop it up with you. But with that Commanders and all that, it's like I love you. And I don't know, we have not met. I don't know if you're going to the Philly convention or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, I might roll up there. But if not, we will chop it up one day in person. I think I'll say this very blatantly. It's not many black males that I've met in my experience. And so I've always really tried to connect, and bring more, because I think we need to have more representation in Toastmasters. Mm-hmm. And I've really been trying to put on my fraternity in this. But, I just been following you for a while, and what you're doing is remarkable. And I would say I'd like to follow in your footsteps, but I ain't trying to be no regional advisor. None of that stuff. I'm done. Like I ain't going up no more, but maybe, but I do appreciate people that stuck with it, did some other stuff with Toastmasters.
And I say this, my wife and I will be in Philadelphia. That's no doubt.
Oh, I would try to roll. I got because our Alpha's convention is in Philly. Philly's getting all these conventions this year. There's like 3 different conventions I know. So it's
definitely. The Super Bowl, and then you have a new WNBA team that's going to happen in Philadelphia. So you have all that happening. So
they got a lot going on. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, definitely. Now, the last question I have for you will be addressed to the people that watch this podcast. There are people that I like to call the happy people, and they're my crew. If you could offer one more solid words of wisdom for my crew, my people, the happy people, what would it be?
I think we all have agency. Things happen, but things don't happen to us. They happen. And so we all have agency within our mind to navigate how we react to those things that happen. Mm-hmm. I always say that no matter what the world does, it's not going to steal my joy or steal the person that I want to be. And so when I say that, like I said earlier, I believe that I'm a kind person. And so I think about that all the time. Like, how do I center myself in being a kind person? I think I'm a kind person. I behave like a kind person. I talk like a kind person. I do habits of a kind person. Therefore, being kind is in my being. So for those people in the crew, just think about the core of who you are, your values, and don't let the world get you out of character. Am I kind every day? No, but I recenter myself and say, man, that's not how I'm supposed to be. And I can get myself back together. And so I would say that, be the person that you want to be and hold firm to that and tell yourself you're that person. Those words that you say to yourself have power.
And that, my friend, is a perfect bookend to the wonderful episode on the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. On behalf of all the happy people that are watching this podcast, I thank you, Philip, for spending time here on the Sunday Morning Chat Series. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, and this concludes this episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series. And I got to say this. If you want more of the podcast similar to the Sunday Morning Chat Series, go to prconnectionsradio.com. But wait, there's more. If you want to check out the YouTube channel, their first YouTube channel you want to check out is called PR Connections. You can check out other podcasts, including this one with the Sunday Morning Chat Series. Just go to PR Connections on YouTube, subscribe, like the videos, like the podcast, comment if you want to, and share as much as you can. But wait, there's more. You can also check out the new podcast called the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and type in Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. And subscribe, like the videos, and comment, because I have a history of interviews I've done from 2020, 2021, 2024, and this year, 2025. And just check that out, and hopefully you get a chance to subscribe and like the videos that are there from past people that are either entertainers, speakers, athletes, and even Toastmasters too. Now, this concludes this episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode, which will air this Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on PR Connections Radio and PR Connections YouTube and the Sunday Morning Chat Series with Jesse Oakley III. Until next time, for Philip, for all the happy people out there, this is Jesse Oakley III speaking to you, signing off, and I'll say, take care of yourselves and have a great day. Bye.
Hey, business owners. Want to get your brand in front of thousands of locals in Vegas without blowing your budget on overpriced ads? Ready to boost your visibility? Use promo code PRTalk for an exclusive offer. Click the link in the description or contact 702-445-9488 to talk to our experts today. Vegas is watching. Make sure they see you.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.